What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Crimson Experience. I'm your host, Crimson Gaming, and I have a special friend with me, Mr. Carson Bruce.
Cody, what's going on?
And we have a special surprise for all of you. Tonight, Carson has been so very willing to bring his keyboard and deal with my terrible equipment and play some music for us and talk about some of his music and some of the cool things that God is doing through his life. So I guess the best thing to do right now is, Carson, if you want to start with a song, and then we'll start getting into the juicy stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. This first one is called Highest Praise, based off of Psalm 145, that Jesus deserves our absolute highest praise at all times. And so I hope y'all enjoy this. This is track 1 from my recent album. Cody, so excited to be here, man. It's going to be a good time, excited. So I'll go ahead and do this track. Shalom, my peace, my righteousness. You hold my yesterday, now and forever. Shalom, my peace, my righteousness. You hold my yesterday, now and forever. So I join with heaven's chorus, dancing at your throne. This is for you, Jesus. You deserve the highest praise. You deserve the highest praise. Here we go. My God, my fortress, my coming King. You died, you rose again, now I am free. My God, my rock, my fortress, my coming King. You died, you rose again, now I am free. So I join with heaven's chorus, dancing at your throne. This is for you, Jesus. You deserve the highest praise. I join with heaven's chorus, dancing at your throne. This is for you, Jesus. You deserve the highest praise. You deserve the highest praise. Yes, you do, Jesus.
Man,
Goodness.
I wanted to join you in singing, but I've already messed up the sound enough tonight.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
I have known Carson for, I think it's a little over a year now.
Yeah, man,
Right
over
at it.
here now.
Met at JSU, and Carson has been nothing short of a brother to me. His music has really impacted me spiritually, got me through some tough times. And so I really challenge each of you tonight that as Carson plays and as we talk, feel free to get involved. Just close your eyes or keep watching, whichever one you want to do. Enjoy the music, enjoy the fun, enjoy the laughs. Ask a question. Feel free to type in the chat. Be able to interact with us tonight. That's one thing I was telling Carson that I really love about streaming is the ability to be interactive on the fly. It's raw, it's real.
Right.
We haven't sat here and rehearsed this. We literally just finished setting up, and we were just like, you know what, let's go. We're going right now.
Right now.
And that's the fun part about doing stuff like this. I've loved it. Carson has been just absolute wonders, working all he can to get this stuff set up, dealing with my $25 speaker.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
And but we're enjoying ourselves.
Look at it. Here it is. Peavy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Peavy.
Shout out to Peavy.
Woo!
Twitch, please don't ban me for copyright.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're good. No, part of that is I make a joke about it.
Oh,
okay. But no, we're having a good time. Just enjoying each other's company, being in the presence of God. That's what we do on a daily basis. And one thing I wanted to say is, give Carson a chance to hear how his music has impacted the channel. As I texted him yesterday, and we kind of talked a little bit as we were setting up, that his song Distractions, which is on his first album, Songs from the Prayer Closet, has really made a much larger impact on this channel than a lot of y'all knew. The song kind of talks about being an everyday follower of Christ, and that not just being when you're at church or when you're around your church friends or anything like that. It's all the time, and it's solely focused on God. And a lot of you know that my channel is language free, certain things on the conversation, things of that nature. And that's simply because I want to be able to honor God with the channel that I represent, the games that I play, the commentary that I do, the reactions, stuff like that. It's all for the glory of God. It's not for me. Amen. And I know Carson does the same way with his music. You can hear it in each lyric and each chord that he plays.
Thank you.
All of that. You can hear that in every piece of his music, and it's just so refreshing in a time where some people may be getting attacked, sometimes even physically, for their beliefs, for their upbringing, the way that they see the world. Yeah. To be able to be bold enough. And this isn't just for me and Carson. This is for every one of you watching on Twitch or YouTube, or if you steal it from a friend. I don't know what how you plan on watching this video. But however you watch it, just know that God wanted you to see it. I firmly believe that. Every time I go live, there are times that I go live that we have absolutely 0 viewers. I don't get anybody to come on the stream the entire night. It happens, but I know that through YouTube that somebody will see it, and maybe there's something I say, something that happens in a game or way I react. Somebody needed to see it, and that's why I keep doing what I do, and I keep putting my 100% effort into it and giving you guys my best. And so, like I was saying, the song Distractions spoke about how things can come in our life, come in our way. You know what, why don't I let Carson tell a little bit about that, since it is his song.
Absolutely, man. Well, it's so cool that you enjoy that song, and that song is special to me. I actually wrote it when I was 13, and I'm 21 right now, so it's been a little while, but little did I know when I first wrote it when I was 13 how much more the message would mean to me when I am 21 right now. In a time in my life in junior high when I was doing a lot of things in school, I was in a lot of clubs and organizations and activities, extracurricular activities, and I was over at my grandparents' house, and I was in their garage, and I brought my keyboard over because basically anytime I would go to my grandparents' house or my friend's house and they didn't have a keyboard, I would basically travel with my keyboard, because even at a young age I was a songwriter. So 13 years old, 14, 12, I would bring my keyboard with me whenever I'd be dropped off to go spend the night somewhere. So I set my keyboard up in my grandparents' garage when I was 13, and I was praying, and I realized at this time that it's at the time that I wrote it, it had been a long time since I've just gotten before the Lord and prayed or worshiped or just had a conversation with the Lord that was very intentional. That wasn't just off the cuff, like, here I'm going to do this activity, God bless it. Here I'm going to do this activity, God bless it. No, instead, it was, I am here to pursue God in an intentional way. Hello, Andrew Brumbelow. Welcome to the stream.
Hey.
We're so glad you're here. But this song, Distraction, speaking of distractions, because I'm distracted now, hello, is really dear to my heart because the song, the lyrics there in the verse says, I get so caught up in the things I have to do that I forget about you, you know? And the chorus is, Lord, I need you now to take every distraction in my life. I want to be with you all the time. I'm sorry, Lord, for always putting you on hold, but you're still there waiting, and now I'm home. And that sense of home and belonging that you have, that I have, in the presence of the Lord is what I wrote when I was 13, and that's when I sing same message today, and it's going to be the same message 10 years from now, and it's going to be the same message 20 years from now, is that God is constant, same yesterday, today, and forever. Even though I am flawed and I am here today, gone tomorrow, my emotions change, but my love for the Lord, my pursuit of the Lord still shouldn't change despite all disappointment and discouragement through life, or shame, or guilt, or anything else, or just not even that, but just being distracted by what we appear to be good things, because not all good things are God things, you know.
Right.
And so I just want to bless. I want to bless whoever is listening, that you can make a difference and that you can stay focused in the things of the Lord. Hello, Grace. I'm glad you're listening as well. I'm glad you're on here. But and I just pray that for anyone who's viewing this, just to, even if you need to shut this off and like seek the Lord and pray and read your word. But yeah, man, I'm so glad you like that song. Shall we play it?
Oh, dude, that would be amazing.
Be prepared for this amp.
While you do that, I'm going to set the mic kind of in between us, because when you turn that off, which makes perfect sense, everything that's trying to come through my microphone, and I think when I talk versus when you talk, there's a volume difference.
Okay.
And I definitely want people to be able to hear what you say while we're talking at the same audio that I get. So while you're playing, I'm gonna move the microphone over in front of you, where it's kind of in between both of us. So, everybody, this is Distractions by your boy Carson Bruce. Enjoy it, and I hope maybe one day it'll impact you the way it's impacted me.
I'm sorry, Lord, for always putting you on
you so much for that, Carson.
Man, it's my pleasure.
It's just, I'll be honest with you, I've been listening to that song non-stop all day.
Really?
Absolutely.
Dude, thank
I
you.
love
I'm
it.
sorry you had to listen to it so much. I'd get tired of me if I were you.
Man, it's hard to get tired of such talent.
Oh, thank
The
you,
true
man.
talent, the piano, the vocal. It's just, man, if I had half that talent, I probably wouldn't be playing games, if I'm honest with you. No,
Very
but
awesome.
no, it's just even the one thing I've always found about your music that's different from a lot of artists that I've heard, but I do listen to a lot of young local artists, is just your ability to pull the emotion through the songs, through your instrumental, your vocal tone, your instrumental, everything just pulls the emotion. You know exactly how to portray that emotion, portray how you want the audience to feel, how you feel.
Thank you, Cody.
When you play, and it's just, I haven't heard it in many people.
Oh, dude,
I
thank
really
you
haven't.
so much, man. Thank you.
But I have to ask you, now that I've told you what my favorite song is, I know as a well, now more former songwriter, I don't get to write as much as I used to. Is there any one of your songs that really pull to you that kind of stands out among the other songs?
Man, that's a really tough question. It really is, because there are so many that are so dear to me in my heart. You know, all of them are like my little babies. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, trust me, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Oh, but if I were, man, there are a few songs that are really dear to me. I really like Just to Dwell, based off of Psalm 27.
Right.
There's one thing that I long for, one thing that I ask, just to dwell in the house of the Lord forever. You know, that's what David wrote in Psalm 27. Excuse me, and just to know that we can dwell in His presence.
Yeah.
That is the end goal. That is the main goal of what God wants us to do, is to dwell with Him and to be with Him. So I think Just to Dwell has a special place in my heart. But I also wrote a song not too long ago. It's on my recent album. It's called A Little While Longer. And the reason why this is special to me is because whenever we get to a point where we feel like maybe we know all the stories in the Bible, maybe we know how a worship experience goes, maybe we know how church goes, maybe we know how a message should go, maybe we know what we should do, but we're not doing it still. But either way, the point is God wants us to remain in Him and Him in us just a little while longer. And so that's an encouragement to me when I feel alone or discouraged or disappointed. Just stay with Him a little bit longer. Whether that's in a worship service, whether that's here on my piano, just in my room alone, just stay with me. He's saying, just stay with me a little while longer, you know? And because He's always there for me, you know what I'm saying? It's us who walk away and get away from Him. So He's calling us to stay a little closer. But when I wrote this, actually, I'm going to pull this out to help me remember, but when I wrote this song, it was based off of Matthew 26:41. It says, "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." And I think that's important when Jesus was telling His disciples to watch and pray, and that our flesh does get weak, but in our weakness He is strong. And He's telling us to watch and to pray and to be alert to that. But I would say as a third one, that's really dear to my heart, is Pray. Pray is really dear to my heart.
That's a good one.
It's track 3 of my first album, Songs from the Prayer Closet. The reason why it's dear to my heart is because I wrote it during the time that my parents went through a divorce. Senior year of high school, and my girlfriend Holly, she was I was talking to her a lot during that time, senior in high school. Now I'm a senior in college. Hey, look at that. Get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. So it was senior year of high school, and my parents were going through a divorce. My parents had been married for 30 years, and I realized, wow, this really stinks, you know. But I was still nonetheless pursuing the Lord and pursuing Him in His fullness and trying to really stay committed with the Lord. And one time, my girlfriend, she wasn't my girlfriend at the time, but she asked me. We were just close friends, getting to know each other, And she asked me during that time. I remember it was January of that last stretch of senior year, and she said, if you were going to pray for yourself, what would you pray for? Because she said, lots of people will say, hey, I'm praying for you, or hey, whatever, I'm praying these things, which is awesome. And I was like, thank you so much. But then she said, what would you pray for yourself? Write out what you would pray for yourself if it was reversed. What would be the prayer you were praying? Because, and then I remember going to my prayer closet that night. And then during that time, I thought about Holly's question, and God revealed to me in my prayer time that I shouldn't have to pray that life gets better. That's not our duty to pray for life to get better. That huge revelation to me, senior year of high school, it's not God's job to make our life better. Right. And that's a hard message to hear. It is. The thing is, Jesus does make our life better. And there are rewards in this earth and in the earth after this. There really is. There's what you sow is what you reap. I believe in that full-heartedly. And God gives and He takes away freely for His glory. So I had to be reminded, and I learned for the first time, that I don't need to pray life gets better. I don't need to pray for better days. Even when the devil comes stronger and harder at me than before, let it be a testament. Let it be just a proclamation, just a testimony to say, you know what, devil, you can come at me as strong as you need to, as hard as you need to. I will not let up, because my God is in me, and greater is He that is in me than is he that is in the world. Job, for example, he lost everything. Parents were divorced. So it was this time when I realized, wow, this huge revelation of I don't need to pray life gets better, because God has full reign. And the bridge says, every time I have fear, you're there to comfort me. Every time I shed a tear, you wipe them away. Every time I get knocked down, you're always there to pick me up. And so it's just really, really important to recognize that there are downfalls, there are things that you will struggle with. But that song's really, really dear to me, because I sing that a whole lot during senior year, freshman year of college, and even still today when I'm faced with uncertainties. It's that God has not put us on this world when we become a Christian just for life to go easy. There are times when there are joyous moments. But those three songs are probably really dear to my heart. There's so many others that are close,
Yep.
But those three are really close, for sure.
Every song, especially ones that you keep, because when I wrote songs, it was, part of it would be I would write songs for myself to play. Sometimes I would write songs just as reminders to myself. There are songs that I have even stashed here, even in my studio, that have been for my eyes only, that I just go to when I'm feeling down or I'm having a rough week. And then there were songs that I wrote to, for another artist. There are songs that I wrote with the intention of trying to sell to a label for, whoever would get a hold of it. There were songs that I wrote for friends of mine that are artists. But especially, I think every song that you write, regardless of what you write it for, has a certain place in your heart, just because you wrote it from a certain point in your life. You wrote it from the emotions, the situations that came from that point in life.
Right.
And especially the ones you keep have so much more connection, because you decided at that point I don't want anybody else singing that song, because that song means so much more to me than one that I wrote for whoever. And so it's, I definitely understand how each song has its own place in your heart. One thing I wanted to say too is Carson is a great example of all of our stories are different. And it's something that I know personally a lot of people that struggle with it, but there are a lot of people that have a tough past that just look to God and they ask why. They look to God and they ask, why did you allow this to happen? Why did, such and such, whatever. And mine and Carson's stories are very different. But we end up serving the same God.
That's right, amen.
And His will is far greater than Carson or mine. Because I know for myself, at least when I was younger, if somebody would have sat me down and said, hey, if you got to set out everything that happened in your life from beginning to end, where would you be? Who would you be with? All that sort of stuff. And I can tell you right now that before I came to Jacksonville, it would not have included here. I did not know Carson at the time. And that just, in my opinion, shares so much light on how sovereign God really is, how all-knowing our God is. Because God knew that if he put it on my shoulders, if he put it on Carson's shoulders to determine where we would be in life, who we would meet, I probably would have never met Carson. We wouldn't be sitting here tonight live on Twitch or on YouTube, depending on how you watch, sitting here talking about the love and grace and the all-knowing power of God. We wouldn't. And that perspective didn't come to me until after I came here to Jacksonville, to know that I couldn't have done this. I couldn't have brought this kind of life together. And I challenge each of you that see this, as you go through your trials, just remember that each trial is a reminder that God loves you, because God will not put anything in your path that you cannot overcome through his all power, through his grace, through his power. He puts us in certain trials to bring us back to him, back to being able to rely on him. Because there are certain things that have happened in my life that I could not have gotten through on my own. I would not be here today if it weren't for God. And that's not just God gives me breath every day, God wakes me up every morning. There were times in my life where I was so low that I thought so little of myself that I did not want to be here anymore. And if it wasn't for God saying, keep going, I have a plan for you. I have a plan that has your life to be prosperous, to be full of grace, truth, and hope.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't be here. That's just me being 100% honest with you.
Yeah.
And like I said, me and Carson have different stories. I don't know all of Carson's story. I don't know where all of he's been in his life, but I know it's different than mine.
Yeah.
And I know both of our stories are different than yours.
Yeah.
There may be similarities. But one thing to remember, if you forget everything else tonight, just remember that God has allowed you to live the life that you have to bring him glory. And no matter what trials God has put you through, he's going to pull you back out of them.
That's right.
Even better on the other side. So no bad situation is an excuse to turn away from God.
Yeah.
Because he wants to pull you out even stronger than you were before.
That's right.
But going back to Carson's music, Carson, your first album was Songs from the Prayer Closet. And you kind of alluded earlier that you actually have a prayer closet.
Yes, yes.
Is that at one of your parents' house, or is it...
Yes, yes. I'm going to move this out of the way, it's kind of
Okay.
distracting.
Speaking of distractions.
That's right. Songs for the Prayer Closet is the name of the first album, but before that, it goes back to when I was 10 years old. I first made a prayer closet. And I went to a conference called The Ramp in Hamilton, Alabama when I was 10 years old. My parents used to be youth pastors, and so I went with the youth group when I was 10 years old to a place called The Ramp, and in this conference they talked about people who would pursue the Lord. You know, they talked about fasting, they talked about praying, they talked about worshiping, they talked about all these different things that we can do as Christians to exercise our faith, to really grow in the Lord. And one person said, you know, one thing that I have is a prayer closet. Okay. And so I was like, that's awesome. And she said, you know, I cleaned up my closet and I made a place where I went to every day to pray and to read my Bible. Basically, the message is get a place where you can get alone with the Lord and make it your place where you get alone. Whether that's your car, whether that's outside in the woods. But for me, that was right there in a closet. And I shared a room with my little sister for a while. I have 3 siblings. I shared a room with my little sister for about 5 or 6 years up until I was about 12. And so when I made a closet, in my closet to where this would be, basically it was just a little bit of a space, little square in my closet, my walk-in closet where I could sit down or stand up, and sometimes I'd be jumping around in there and praising God and turn on some music. I had a little radio. I'd turn up the music really loud and just dance and shout and sing and have a good time. And then I'd write things down. You know, the Lord was telling me, and I would read the Word, and I would write down things that He was telling me through His living Word. And so that's where it started. And that conference, He really spoke to me in a real way, and the Holy Spirit was really grabbed a hold of me. God's given me multiple visions and really spoke to me specifically through open visions, which is really cool because God speaks in different ways to different people. But because of that conference, because of the Lord laying it on my heart, I feel like really gave me a position and a posture to seek Him in the secret place, and that was a prayer closet for me.
A little fun fact, a lot of you have seen my videos, seen my streams, some have seen both, which I greatly appreciate, but this area right here, this little studio has the green screen, the door is closed right now. A lot of times, I'll admit it's not every day, but a lot of times I will come in here and this is kind of my prayer closet. Sometimes the computer's turned on, sometimes I'll play some music through the Spotify and turn my headset up since I don't have speakers in here. Other times I just come in here and I pray. And I just sit there. Sometimes there's actually windows behind the computer that sometimes I'll even open up, because this being a second floor, I have a direct view at the sky. And it sounds cliche, look to the heavens, but honestly sometimes as a college student, as someone who works a lot, someone who's constantly busy, when I get those times where it might be between classes, my supervisor may be out for the day and may not need me at work, I'll just come in here, open up the windows, and I'll just look to the heavens.
Yes.
And just sit there and tell God just to speak to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll be me opening my Bible, but a lot of times it's me just looking out the window, just saying, God, here is our open line of communication. I have taken away any kind of buffer on our service. I am looking straight at you.
That's good.
Talk to me. Tell me what you want me to do. And especially in this part of my life, and Carson's life too, we're both seniors. We're both looking ahead to graduating and finding employment, things of that nature. I feel like I need that now, probably more than ever, because it's a very nerve-wracking part of life when I don't know where I'll be this time next year. I could be here in Jacksonville. I could be in Seattle, Wisconsin. Oh, Seattle, Washington. I don't know why I said Wisconsin. It's late. Give me a break. I could be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's Wisconsin for you. I could be halfway across the world. I don't know. But one of the biggest things I've had to open up my eyes to lately is it's not my choice. God has put me somewhere in less than a year's time. And I keep looking back at the story of Jonah, where it's, he didn't want to go. But in the end, God made him. It's like, you're going. End of story. Yeah. And, the attitude may not be there, but God's power will follow you wherever you go if you ask for it. And so that's something I've really had to wrestle with lately, is just figuring out where God wants me and opening my heart and being willing to go. But I do want to take a time to remind everyone, if you are watching and you do have a question for me or Carson, feel free to type in the chat. We are watching the chat, and we are very open to questions anything you may have. As Carson did allude to, sorry ladies, he is taken. But what I want to do now is give Carson an opportunity to say anything he wants to say or play any of his music that he wants to play, and just give us an opportunity to be in the presence of God. So Carson, if there's any way you want to go?
Yes. I'll play a few songs of mine if y'all don't mind.
I don't think anybody minds, Carson.
I've seen all that man can do, and Jesus, all I want is you. And I see it. want to share a song, next one about staying hidden with the Lord. We're talking about prayer closets and our secret place of seeking Him. And this song is called Stay Hidden. It's a little bit more up tempo, but lots of times in the Bible, Cody, we hear and we read of these Bible heroes who have spent time in devotion with the Lord, and like Daniel, who prayed 3 times a day. And I think our strength is found in that secret place. So this one's called Stay Hidden. I will stay hidden in the stream of your Spirit. I will stay hidden in the stream of your Spirit. Just like baby Moses down in the water, I will float on down that stream. He chose the wilderness over the palace, and He chose your glory. So I choose your glory. I will stay hidden in the stream of your Spirit. I will stay hidden in the stream of your Spirit, and taste and see that the Lord is good. Taste and see that the Lord is good. We're singing, oh, and I will stay hidden in the stream of your Spirit. I will stay hidden in the stream of your Spirit. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Yeah, He's good. Isn't that right? Taste and see that the Lord is good. And we're singing, I will stay hidden.
All right.
I'll be doing those tomorrow at Concert for Charity, by the
Right.
way. With Tafumi doing a Concert for Charity benefit concert at First Baptist Jacksonville tomorrow
Okay.
at 6:30. So excited to do that with the full band, but man, that was fun. I had fun.
Absolutely.
Man. Thanks for letting me do those. Cody.
Absolutely. Now, if you will, your second album was called On My Face.
Yes.
Do you mind explaining where the name of that album came from, where it means to you,
Absolutely.
and things along that line?
Absolutely. On My Face album is kind of strange because when you see the name of it, you're like, I wonder what this could mean.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, On My Face is about a position of when you're praying or when you're worshiping.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible mentions people being on their face before the Lord over 100 times. It's
Really?
an awe and reverence of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And so the actual word they use, the term they use when you're just straight on the ground with your face to the ground, your face on the ground, is literally prostrate. You're prostrating yourself before the Lord. And the original word in the Greek is proskeneu, which means to kiss in reverence, which is interesting because many people, when they were in like reverence of an actual king, the people of Israel or the other people throughout different empires, throughout the whole biblical arena and in history, were known for just getting on their face to either kiss the ground that a king stand on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is really awesome. And God gave me this revelation for this album, and really the On My Face track 3, is that when we're on our face, there's nothing we can't face. That's the main lyric. That's the main point. When you're on your face before the Lord, there's nothing you can't face. So it's kind of a play on word that there's nothing that you can't face when you're with the Lord. You know, there's nothing that really, and later on, the lyrics in that same song, the bridge is, you fight my battles and you always win. You fight my battles and you always win. God does. He fights my battles. And you know what? He's always going to win. But when I don't let him fight my battles, I'm always going to lose. Right. And it's just the bottom line of it. But sometimes I have to remind myself, and I think I can do certain things, and I can't. So this album is all about that position of laying before yourself for the Lord. So I'm going to read some things that I was studying off of.
Okay.
When I wrote this song. It's Genesis chapter 17, verse 3, and it keeps going on and on. It says, then Abram fell on his face, and God spoke to him. Which, that's so powerful right there. So powerful. Also, Genesis 17, 4-5, God said, and as for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. Now, no longer will you be called Abram. Your name will be Abraham. The first thing that being on your face creates is communication. Right? Because he fell on his face, and then what did God do? God spoke to him. It wasn't God spoke to him, then he fell on his face. No. You have to fall on your face before the Lord, and then God speaks to him, okay? So the first thing it created was communion. The second thing that it created was covenant. He said, I will have a covenant. Behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. He was on his face, God spoke to him, boom, there's a covenant relationship, and he creates that covenant. Third thing was change. It says, no longer will your name be Abram, your name will be Abraham. When we're at this place of devotion, God will tell us, when we're first on our face of devotion, we find out how good God is, we're accepted into his family forever. We have salvation. We're going to be in him with eternity in heaven. But then it goes further than that. We have a covenant relationship with him. We have a covenant now to propel people, to propel his glory, and show that to people so that they can understand the joy of the Lord. That is true living. In the presence of the Lord is the fullness of joy. And I believe that. I believe that verse full-heartedly. I've experienced that. So that's what that means. And then it goes on. I mean, I could preach on this message for about forever. But I'm just going to try to give at least a little concise version tonight. But Luke 7:38 says, and standing behind him, which is Jesus, at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with tears and kept wiping them with her hair and kissing his feet and anointing them with her perfume. Let's go back to the original word of prostrate, being prostrate on your face before the Lord. Proskuneo, which means to kiss in reverence in the original Greek. What did Mary do when she was with Jesus? Kissing him at his feet. Kissing his feet, washing his feet with her hair, right? Had the alabaster jar, pouring it out on Jesus, giving him praise. She was at the lowest of lowest. One thing about being on your face is it creates you. It forces you to be humble. Because when you're on the face, boom, down here, you can't see me. You know, I'm so humble. But when I'm up like this, you see my face. Hello, here I am. It's very you know. There's only 2 times that the Bible records where someone actually kissed Jesus. I'm sure you know Mary kissed his mother kissed him, another thing. But 2 times that the Bible is actually recorded where Jesus was kissed, and oftentimes in Bible days people greeted each other with kisses, right, on the cheeks. But can you remember another time when Jesus was kissed besides Mary?
It would have been Judas.
It was Judas, exactly, Cody. It was Judas, and it wasn't a good kiss.
It was definitely not a good kiss.
Here's the thing. Everyone's kissing Jesus. Are you betraying him or are you worshiping him with your lips? Will your lips praise him or will your lips slander him and blaspheme him? You don't have to do it directly, but you do it through your actions, you know? And that is so powerful to me. Everyone is kissing Jesus in some way. Are you in awe and reverence on your face before the Lord, or are you just going to kiss him on the cheek with betrayal? You know, are you going to be like, oh, what's up, homie, Jesus? Yeah, you know, whatever. I don't really need you. That's American Christianity for a lot of us. Yeah. And it's not good. You know, and that's what this message means to me. And I have a lot of blogs that I write about these songs specifically. Right. And it's on my website. Over here. carsonbrucemusic.com, and you can go to blogs and you can read the blog on highest praise and wonderful. And I'm about to upload the one on my face but it's taken me so long because I want to be able to capture all of the study and all of what God has deposited into me. So On My Face has a lot of background, but it really hit me. The main event that hit me to write this song was when I was in a worship experience, and I fell to the ground, not dramatically, but I went to the ground and just laid face down on the ground, just worshiping, singing, just not really doing much except for just saying, Lord, I love you, just praying, And over a period of an hour, God whispered the phrase to me, on your face there's nothing you can't face. And so then I just took that around and said, on my face there's nothing I can't face. And so I took what God literally spoke to me, not figuratively, not figuratively. God truly can speak audibly, and that time He really did. Is I felt Him singing those melodies over me, like Zechariah says. He's singing back over us. So yes, that's what that means. On My Face album. That's what all of that came from, was that message. Genesis, Abram to Abraham, covenant, communication, kissing Jesus, all the above, man.
That is awesome. And it sounded like you were telling us earlier that those watching the stream right now and watching the video when it's on YouTube is getting never before seen content from you.
Yes, that's true.
Wow.
That's true.
You guys got a treat tonight. Other than just the fact that Carson is here.
Oh, Cody.
But,
it's a treat anytime we
appreciate it. Now, Carson, I know we've been on the tear of the worship and delivering awesome messages, but part of tonight is also promoting you and your music. Can you give me some of the places where we can find your music?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find it on Spotify. You just search Carson Bruce, and this. I've never been in a video where my name was so huge on the screen. It's like right behind me. It's like, hello, Carson Bruce. Wow. It's weird. It's weird, y'all. It's weird. But yes, Carson Bruce. You can search that on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, CD Baby, Apple Music, YouTube. Did I cover all of them? Google Play, you can get it on Google Play.
For our Android friends.
So for our Android friends, right. It we'll pray for you, but all of our Android users, this is my iPhone, and it looks like a cassette tape actually. But anyway, go Apple. But no, you can find it on pretty much any place you can get music. It's on there. Carson Bruce. There are 2 albums out. Songs from the Prayer Closet, On My Face, that I released just this summer. Was just a few months ago. I released On My Face, and it has 12 tracks on it. I've released a couple singles here and there, but they're basically all on the album. So first album was 12 tracks. Second album was 12 tracks. But of course, you can just go to my website and it'll have all that on there as well. So.
Okay. And his website is right above my head. The carsonbrucemusic.com.
Yes.
And for those watching on YouTube, I will definitely have links to his availability in the description. Your social media. I know you use a lot of that for your music stuff. Where can we find you on your social media?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I'm not on Twitter or anything like that. Okay. On Instagram, it's CDBruce3.
Okay.
CD, my last name Bruce, 3. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, right?
There you go.
So CDBruce3 is my Instagram. I love using my Instagram account. It's really fun. Mm-hmm. It's not particularly all music page. It's a mixture of everything.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with
that. But I don't think I could handle another just music page. But I do have a specific Carson Bruce music page on Facebook.
Yes.
So you can go to Carson Bruce Music on Facebook to find that.
Yeah, and that's a lot of you that will see this have noticed that I have started a Snapchat with the Crimson Gaming, and that's something because Instagram is so hard for me to post on. I post the daily Bible verses, and then I post for streams and videos going up, things of that nature. But Snapchat has just become an easier source for me because I've had so much call for you guys to see what I do on a daily basis. I'm still not great about it, as I don't think I've posted really much of anything today except for the stream going on tonight, but it gives me an opportunity to just give you a bit of my daily life. You know, maybe I go to a football game or I'm hanging out with my buddies. You know, I'll take a picture and upload that, and you guys could see me, you know, off camera. But that's one thing that I know Carson is this way, and it's something that I definitely try to be, is I'm the same person on camera, on screen, as I am off screen. This camera's not adding 10 pounds. I really am this heavy. But no, I'm Cody. You know it's true. But no, I don't change my persona or how I act based on whether or not I'm on screen. I'll admit that I'm a little bit more behaved on screen than I can be at times with friends, but that's part of my sinful nature. That's something that I am working through. But I do, in terms of my personality, what I hope is approachability, I'm the same guy on screen and off screen. I know Carson's the same guy on stage and off stage. I've seen him for over a year. He's the same guy. He hasn't changed. But
Thanks, man.
But no, that's something.
I hate that. You know, I wish I could be better, Cody. I'm sorry. I'm still the same old lame guy.
Oh, just terrible.
I know it.
No, it's Carson's a great guy. Carson's a great. Wow, that's rude. But no, Carson's a great guy. Carson, you're not going to find any difference between him when he's on stage and when he's off stage. I don't think I've ever seen this guy not smiling. So, just a very lovable character. But definitely support his music, support what he's doing, buy his albums,
Thank y'all.
and support his music, support him. He always needs prayer just like we all do.
That's right.
And so what I'm going to do is, I don't know if Carson was wanting to play anything else or...
Oh, man, we're good.
You're good?
Yeah, man.
All right. So what we're probably going to do now is, I usually do this before and after a stream or a video, but I'm going to ask Carson if he can pray us out.
Absolutely, man. Father God, I thank you so much for tonight. Lord, I thank you for your presence. I thank you that you are good, and all you do is good, Jesus. I thank you for what you did at the cross for us, Jesus. That crimson blood, Lord, that was spilled at the cross. I thank you for that, Lord. I thank you for this opportunity just to give you praise in this kind of setting, Lord. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever, God. I'm so thankful for your faithfulness. I'm so thankful for how consistent you are. God, your love truly is unfailing, God. God, your love truly moves mountains. God, your love truly pierces through our darkest, deepest secrets, God, or our deepest pain, Lord. You are there for us, and I just can't thank you enough for that, God. My heart is just overjoyed, Jesus, and Lord, I just pray for this particular region, God, here at Jacksonville State University. Lord, I pray that your presence will truly wrap around these students. God, I pray that your loving arms, your loving kindness, God, will truly be known in this campus, Lord. And I pray that your people will be known for a people that love, God, that puts love into action, because that is what you did, Jesus. God, you ate with sinners, God. You loved on people like no one else has ever loved on people. Lord, and you are inside of us. Jesus, you are inside of us, and you're living, and I thank you for that. God, I thank you so much for Cody. I thank you for what he does on this particular streaming site, God, just to lift your name up high, Lord. I pray that he will not be discouraged or let down, Lord, that your spirit and your presence, God, will lead him and guide him as he's getting ready to graduate. Lord, I pray for those who are under the sound of my voice tonight, God. Lord, I pray that you will break through to them, God. Some of them are having fear. Some of them have anxiety. Some of them wonder why they're still even watching this. But God, I pray that your presence will break through to them even tonight, God, that you'll give them peace. You'll give them understanding. You'll give them strength in all situations, Jesus, so that they can put on the full armor of God and know that you fight their battles, God, and that you always win. And because you always win, we always win, because we're a part of your family, God. Mm-hmm. And I'm thankful for being a son. I'm thankful for inheriting a piece of being in your sonship, God, of being in your kingdom, of being a part of this great kingdom, Lord, which you are our provider. You are our Father. You are our absolute all in all, Lord. And I pray that that's true of me, God. I repent, God, of any fear, of any times I've not trusted you, God, or any time that I've not given you control. And Lord, I pray that we'll be able to give you control, Lord, in every single situation, God. Help us to seek you daily and know that our strength and our any kind of wisdom we have is all from you, God. It's not through our righteousness, but your own, Lord, that we can be made whole. So, Lord, I pray peace. I pray blessings, God, over this time together. And I just pray specifically over Cody in the name of Jesus, God. Thank you for this time. Amen.
I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. And I want to thank Carson for coming on the stream, really giving us, A, a lot of things to think about, but B, just an awesome night of worship. I just want to, reiterate again, definitely check out carsonbrucemusic.com, way up here above my head. Check out his music, buy his albums. I will have links down in the description below if you're following me on YouTube. And thank you guys once again for coming out. I appreciate all of your support that you've given to me and to Carson. And that's really about it. So once again, guys, thank you guys for coming out tonight. Peace, love, and potato chips. See y'all in the next one.
Guess who's back?